Welcome. Sit down, roll up, pour up, turn up and tune in, because you're now watching the Buncher Bull Network.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to the world's dopest podcast, the Marley State of Mind podcast, down here at the Bunch of Bull Studios like we do every Saturday. And tonight, I got a special guest in the building. I got my man Dose Now. What's good with you, bro?
Yo, what's good? I appreciate you having me up here.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad to be here, bro.
I'm so happy to have you, man. It was like I told you, man, you were one of my most anticipated guests for me personally, man. I know I've been waiting for you to be a part of this. I'm glad that you can be a part of this. And I know we got a lot to get into. You got a lot of layers that goes into yourself, man. So I'm happy to have you here.
I'm an open book for you, bro.
To talk about it all.
Yo, speak on it. Whatever you want to know. I got you.
I usually like to kick off the podcast saying how I was introduced to the artists or creative I have on, how I come to meet them. For you, it was the hip hop scene, of course. I think the first time I got a hold of you and seen you was on it might have been the when Jordan and Jeff were doing the Antux series.
Okay, yeah.
It might have been the Antux freestyle was the first thing I seen you on. And then, we became friends through Prim. Prim introduced me to you, and the rest is history, man. You always been a solid dude. I was going through some legal issues, and you gave me some solid advice during that time. Too,
I was glad you were able to bubble
that
there,
was
man.
That was a blessing. And
I was trying to see you get double dipped.
Yeah,
good man. Yeah, man.
And you definitely looked out. You definitely kept me cool through the situation. And it's just some friendly advice here and there. And I appreciate that. But yeah, man, so let's get into it. This podcast, I have a lot of musicians on. I have a lot of different artists. I've had, video directors on. I have filmmakers on. I've had all sorts of people. But like I said, for you have a lot of layers. So it wouldn't be doing justice just to get into the art form. But let's get into the art form. I know you're known for being a freestyle artist.
Yeah.
How did you get into freestyling and stuff like that coming up, bro?
It was the era. Because I was fortunate enough that when I came up in Pittsburgh in the late 90s, the underground scene was kind of the local scene. I mean, there were certainly other things going on. Obviously, Sam Snead, people. Right. There was, I'm not, but for what we knew and what we understood, it was, the internet was nascent. Mm-hmm. We were still going to Brave New World in Oakland and buying 12 inches. Yeah. It was like, the underground was the place to be back then. It was cool.
Right.
So doing all the four elements, break dancing, tagging, DJing and MCing. So then it was, we saw other people in front of us, dudes like Stretch and Noodles and like whatever that were prolific freestylers came up through the freestyle battle circuit.
Yeah.
That was like the first time I think I ever held an actual mic like in front of people. I was freestyle horribly.
Yeah.
But it was kind of just knowing that was like the only thing to do.
Right.
And that was the great era, Supernatural, Battle Juice, and we were and again, the internet was starting to circulate these things. So, you're getting like a choppy clip of it on Real Player and whatnot. And then too, again, prior to social media, just very basic internet magazines, whatever, they had those giant national battles, and some of those were like really consequential. Eminem versus Juice at the Rap Olympics in LA. That was like the big West Coast battle. Then you had Scribble Jam in the Midwest, and then you had the Blaze battle and the Rocksteady battle in the East, and you had Super Bowl up in Massachusetts and New England. Like there were all of these like giant regional battles that would draw multi-thousand person crowds.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of energy around it.
Yeah.
And, nowadays the written battle scene, I guess, is like that too. But back then there really was no written battle scene. You get clowned for bringing a written to a battle. 100%. Everything had to be off the top of the head. So,
Isn't the evolution crazy and how words change throughout time? Because freestyle meant something much different back then as it does now.
Well, yeah, that's like, I mean, even back then it was, people would get clowned all the time for spitting writtens, saying it was a freestyle. It was like one of like the most now it's so funny. Like we were in the car talking about this on the way up here about like like Gucci telling on Pooh Shiesty, and like things are so like things have gone like so Haldron Collider, like alternate dystopic universe.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's like back then the biggest problem, it feels like the 50s, like such an innocent time. Back then the biggest thing was he used like a written verse and a freestyle. Oh,
Yeah.
But people got to remember there was the Good Life Cafe in Los Angeles, and that was like Project Blowed, Freestyle Fellowship, like the dudes who started it, originated it out there. And, it was a famous spot, like the New York Poets Cafe in New York, where much more famous artists would come to perform, like guys who were signed. And Fat Joe and a bunch of New York guys came, and they got booed off the stage because they were doing New York freestyles, which was basically they would just kick their best written verses over different beats.
Right.
And that was acceptable in New York, like the Hot 9-7 freestyle or whatever. And they were getting booed out. They got booed out of the fucking building in LA because in LA, like they were like, they didn't want a single preconceived thought. Like they wanted you literally just rapping about shit people were holding in their hands and like stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like they were that strict. So it's like, it is funny. The evolution is crazy because now, as far as I know, I don't think. I mean, I'm so old and washed and out of like touch now, or whatever. I got like, the baby. And I was just in jail for a grip, but like, I don't think there are like huge freestyle battles anymore. It would be funny if someone put one together. Like, no, you really have to freestyle in this one. It would almost be niche.
It's great that you mentioned that because I'm actually doing Romcow next Friday. There's a team Romcow going on.
Okay, the Romcow will be like one of the only ones where they still, and that stretch like just being like the freestyle like samurai roaming around like still maintaining the integrity because like. And I'm not mad at written battling. I will say this. My metaphor for written battling versus freestyling is this. Written battling to me is like the UFC MMA because you are much more likely to turn on any random MMA fight and it be a more entertaining fight than a random boxing match.
Right.
Like I would say like 80% of MMA shit I happened across in my life to watch or saw live was pretty lit. Like you're getting knocked the fuck out, choked out, whatever. Because the rules as such and the way it is set up, it favors like exchanges with no defense. And, you're allowed to do all kinds of different shit. You're not as constrained in what you can do. That's a written battle. Like, of course they're going to be fucking great because guys have time to prepare.
Right.
And,
it's more like theater. It's more like theater. Yeah.
They can really launch nuclear missiles at each other from close range.
Right.
Freestyle battling to me is like boxing where it's like 80-90% of the battles are not that great because it's really hard to get two dudes to freestyle off the top of the head, both of them to be on point,
that day,
to ride the beat, to have good lines for the crowd to get it, whatever. But to me, and it's my personal opinion, the best freestyle battles are always better than any written battle because there's like the greatest boxing matches of all time exceed any MMA fight, like Ali Frazier or Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward. Like your legendary confrontations when you have two dudes. Because a lot of boxing matches you watch them, bro, they suck. Like dudes who clutch the whole time. It's like nothing happens. Like it's all no one's getting through. Like whatever.
And a lot of them coming to decisions. Not a lot of knockouts.
Not a lot of knockouts. Not a lot of crazy exchanges and like moments or whatever. But the great ones, like when you have two great fighters and they're both just beating the fuck out of each other, but like they're at the top of their game and they're throwing, they're blocking, and then they're getting hit, coming back, like the end of Rocky type situation.
Right.
Those ones are always more. I mean, they're like sublime. Right. They're like on a totally different level, or whatever. And that's to me,
the comparison.
Freestyle battling has a much lower payoff. Like you have to go through a lot of them to get to the legendary ones. So that makes sense why, I get it. Written battles, they're much more entertaining. You know what I mean? Like 100%. Any written battle you can turn on, like especially with like, anyone who's in like the top 30, 50 top in the world ever. They're going to be great.
Yeah.
They're going to be great. But I saw many top tier freestyle battlers between two dudes who were legendary where even they were like, because it's that hard.
It is that difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good comparison, man. And the fact that you came in at that time and you were able to keep the essence of that throughout too, right? Because you still, even once it got away from that for you, being on the freestyle scene, you still kept the essence of freestyle.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, you got to remember too, like, because like, again, like my real job was selling massive amounts of weed. Like I wasn't constrained to having like any hope of an actual rap career. So I didn't give a fuck what I did. Like I could just be me and just be this like random underground backpack dude while everybody else was trying to become like more of a complete songwriter and gain commercial success and like make like political alliances. And like I watched, like I call it the gold rush in the Pittsburgh scene, because like, you know, Pittsburgh had no national artists, and then all of a sudden in like an 18-month period they had two world-class A-list celebrity, multi-platinum, Hollywood Hills living #1 hit superstars.
Yes.
Boom, boom, out of the same side of the city. And like, and it's an incredible thing. It was a great thing, but it also like made everyone like go in. It was a gold rush. It was like when they found gold in San Francisco.
100%.
People done lost their fucking minds.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody now, all of a sudden, everyone
feels
was
real.
Yeah, and people got really weird and like and whatnot. And it's like, I capitalized off of it simply just because the amount of people that like needed to like consume massive amounts of marijuana. Like Western PA went from being a place where it was like hard to get weed and like nobody cared about it to being like San Francisco on the east. Yeah. Because you two guys who were emphasized being stoners or whatever, they just, I mean, you know, besides like them, besides Wiz and Mac themselves and the people at Rostrum, I would say like I'm in the top 10 people that made money off of that.
So no, that brings up a good point, man. Do you think that those two getting famous changed like the culture in Pittsburgh?
Oh, absolutely. No, it definitely did, bro. Like I rode the weed wave with it. I didn't ride the music wave. It didn't do anything for my, you know, my music career, because I was like writing complex songs about like time travel and like whatever. I was still on my super backpack nerd rap, which I always would, and you know, like whatever. I didn't alter that at all. But in terms of like what I actually did to make money, fuck yeah, I had the store. I had the fucking first illegal weed store. Yeah. And now all of a sudden Pittsburgh is the fucking is the Kush and orange juice capital.
Right.
And this is before the medical stores were open.
Yeah.
I had a line around the fucking block like New Jack City every day for 10 years.
No, it's funny.
I mean, I'm sure there still would have been demand, but like, I mean, I feel like they really unleashed like a floodgate. And they also got so many kids into the weed game because kids started smoking. Yeah. And then they need to buy it from somewhere. So Tales now, you know, now the game's so flooded and watered down, but back then it's Tales old as time. Now they got to sell it, or they want to sell it. So it was like, and I was accessible because I was a guy in the city. So all the suburban kids could slide on me. Right. I had so many kids, bro, like that, like, you know, they came and bought like 1 pound off me in the alley behind the Shadow Lounge or whatever. Right. 2-3 years later, they're copping like fucking 300-400 pounds. Like they're millionaires. They got swimming pools they're fucking cowabungaing out of their bedroom window into. Right. They're rich. Yeah. Because they're bringing, because back then, you know, now it's like so hard for someone to conceive. But back then it was like bringing 100 pounds of weed from the east side of Pittsburgh to like Swickley, like a 40-minute trip. Yeah. Like increased the price on the pound like 400 or 500 per pound. Right. And they would all sell.
Yeah, location's crazy, right?
Yeah, it was like getting across like the U.S.-Mexico border, except like you would make it far more often. Like, I mean, you know, yes, there was probably more law enforcement directed towards marijuana in the outskirts and the suburbs and the cut, whatever, but not to the point where like, you know, you had like a 1 in 2 chance of making it. You're going to make it 99 out of 100 times.
And most of the time, those kids knew the law enforcement. They were friends with people in the community. For sure. So they weren't tripping on them.
They weren't tripping at all. But no, I mean, no, I watched that because I opened up the store like late aughts, early teen. So it was like right when all that shit, when Wiz and Mac were starting to mushroom or whatever. Yeah. I definitely culturally, because like all of a sudden Pittsburgh was like Amsterdam, bro. Like I traveled, so like I knew what San Francisco was like. I'm not ever saying we would have like a NorCal level weed culture, but compare us to any other city besides maybe Detroit, because it was so legal in Detroit or whatever. Any other city, just the open consumption, everyone's talking about it, everyone's rapping about it, so everyone's selling it.
Right. Do you think that affected like not only like the regular citizens, but even law enforcement was like, who gives a shit? I mean,
I do, because like, look, back in the day, bro, and you know, from like when you were younger here and got in trouble, like they cared about weed back in the day. It wasn't they care about the way they care about crack or heroin or people getting murdered, but like back in the day, like you got caught with like 20 pounds in the city in 2005, you were going to jail. Like you weren't, that wasn't like a ticket. That wasn't like, you were going to have to go do some time, either county or go upstate. You're going to have to go do, might not be like a crazy, but you have to go do a 1 to 2 or a 24 to 48 or like whatever. You have to go sit down for that. Yeah. Like getting caught 50 or 100. Yeah, you're going to fucking jail, bro. Like you're going to prison. Like like no question.
Yeah.
Around 2013 or 2011, when the state Supreme Court struck down the mandatory minimums, and then the cultural creep was happening across the country. Yes, absolutely. Law enforcement, they still cared, but it became much more uneven.
Right.
But like, bro, back in the day, like DANET, like the District Attorney Narcotics Enforcement Task Force, they were setting people up for eighths in the suburbs. Like motherfuckers were wearing wires on people in Ross.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I mean? Like on McKnight Road and shit. Like, you know, like Alpha, like Team Converge. It was like some fucking kid who sold someone an eighth.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah.
Think about it now, like in today's time. No, that's a lot. So I definitely want to unpack some of that, right? So we're doing the music, we're doing the freestyle, and at the same time, are you going for your bar? Or are you trying to pass the bar at the same time?
I went to law school. I started in 2009.
Right.
Yeah, I just moved back to Pittsburgh because I had been rapping and touring and selling weed in Philly, and shit went super sideways out there. Like the crew that I was a part of, like other people in it started getting extorted and robbed by this crew of like rogue Philadelphia narcotics detectives.
How did you end up in Philly?
I went to undergrad there for Temple.
Okay.
And I stayed. I met my wife out there. She was a chef. She was going to the restaurant school, and I just lived in West Philly.
Okay.
And I was in U City or whatever, and I started selling weed.
Doing what you
out
do.
there. Yeah. And I was doing well out there.
You said the cops were extorting the people.
Yeah, because Philly's like on another level of criminality. And Philly's like the Wild West.
Right.
You know, it always has been, always will be. And these dudes were setting up like large scale Jewish weed dealers, and they were like robbing them and flipping them and like, you know, against, you know, like whatever. And it happened to somebody who was like one of our main suppliers. They robbed the dude for like 80 pounds and a shit ton of money. They Suge Knighted him, like they held him out the balcony of his luxury condo, and then he became a rat for them. They like, I mean, you know, they intimidate him into it. He became a rat. It was his choice. He's a fucking rat. And then my dude got knocked, and like it was just like really bad. Because again, back then, a local investigation would result in prison time. Right. Like nowadays, bro, if like even back in when I was on like the peak of my run in the late 2010s, if someone was like, the local police are investigating you for selling weed, I'd be like, I mean, I'm not going to brush it off. Like, you got to respect law enforcement because anyone can bust a move. Right. But I'd be like, this is fixable. Like, we can like change locations and, we can work around this. Like, the one you can't work around is the feds. Right. That's you. There's no working around them. It's either get down or lay down. I mean, you're either shutting down, getting popped even though you shut down, and you have two choices. You can be a rat or you can stand up. That's it. Right. So yeah, that kind of like drove me to Pittsburgh, which is funny because everything was still kind of behind weed. So I went to law school because I was trying to find something else to do besides weed. I went to law school and I like reestablished like music out here, whatever. But then in law school, I saw a lane where I was like, man, none of these kids have anyone to sell them weed because like none of them are from Pittsburgh. Yeah, and they all got money. Yeah. Like law students, they're rich.
And you said they had to be discreet. I remember you talking about
They weren't going to buy weed from anyone else, and there was no medical store they could go to. Back then, again, you could get thrown out of Pitt Law for getting caught with a small amount of weed. Right. So, like, I was the devil they knew. Yeah. So then that, like, spread out. That was, like, one of my many, like, customer stakes that, like, planted and bloomed was I got the law students, then that got me all the lawyers, the judges, the whole clerks, the whole legal community basically was coming to me because again, I was discreet. Yeah. I wasn't gonna.
And you're one of them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I could play.
So that has to be interesting, right? Like as I'm talking to you and I'm thinking about it, like that had to help your business because you had your foot in so many different worlds, right?
Yeah.
Like you're a young Jewish dude coming from the Squirrel Hill area. So you know those people, like you said, in Pittsburgh, as we said on our ride up, Pittsburgh is an area where the hood's right next to the nice spots. So at the same time, you're playing with kids in the hood, so you know them as well. Yep. You're on the hip hop scene, so you know that as well. So you have all of these different layers of friendships that can become clientele.
Yes, weed is all relationships.
Right.
I mean, well, back then it was. Now it's become kind of just like it's
commercial.
It's just whoever has what people want for the lowest price.
Right.
Back in the day when it was a more obscure, murkier game, it was harder to get. Everything with weed was relationships. It was all like, do you know a guy? I got a guy. You're a guy.
Yeah.
So it's like I was able to. You're right. I straddled many different worlds there were probably very few people in the city that could go to as many different places as I could and be good and fit in
all of those places.
In all those places, and had friends in all of those circles.
Right.
And I was able to successfully leverage those relationships and convert that into cash by, with the weed thing. Because 100%, definitely. Because I could get people from here and people from here and people from here. And those, like, the store, once I opened that up, that was like the magnet because it drew everybody. Everyone was like jokes about the line to the store was like the craziest shit ever.
You'll see all sorts of different types of people.
Yeah. There'd be like lawyers in suits. There'd be like, punk rock and hipster people, like chicks with chicks with blue hair and nose rings. There'd be a super trapped out dudes from the hood, like yinzers, like straight yins, like hard hats on and stuff like that. Like literal Orthodox Jews from Squirrel Hill with the the payasses and like the hats and like it was like literally Asian and Indian people, doctors with their lab coats on. It was it looked like a fucking like casting call or something.
Yeah, like a Simpson episode.
Yeah, Simpsons episode, 100%. It was the coolest part of it ever.
Right.
But no, that was a testament to
who you were.
Right, yeah, to the circle, to the fact that like I was able to be in a lot of different places and talk to a lot of different people. Okay, it definitely facilitated my ability to do so successfully.
So you come back, you move back, you're back on the music scene, you're back in law school, you're doing that, and you find out that okay, I have an ability to reach out to this clientele while I'm here, because I'm who they need to see. So when you realize that, did you see that it was scalable at that point? Did you realize it was scalable at that point?
I mean, like when I came back, I was playing catch up because I'd been gone for like 10 years.
Right.
I was in my late 20s. I left when I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
So Pittsburgh had a weed game. It wasn't like I was the first person to sell weed. And fuck no, Pittsburgh had entrenched guys. They had guys who were doing hundreds of pounds and thousands of pounds. They had organizations. Like I wasn't like, so I was playing catch up for a long time. Yeah, I mean, I remember days I'm making $60, $50, $30, but I always kind of held with it because I knew that I could see that there was like month to month improvement. Let's put it like that. Like, although it took, because the thing is like people are like I got popped in 2019. I came back here like 2008, so it took me like, and then I started like hustling again seriously after high school in like 2005. So like it took me like 13 years, like let's say like it took me a long time, like probably 10 of those years to get back to where I wanted to be. It did not happen overnight.
So like it was. Did you have intentions on being where you ended up being?
Yeah. I did. I didn't know if I would ever get there, but I definitely had like the Scarface thing where I was just like, I want to take this the fuck over. Yeah. And I remember people literally laughing at me because they were like, dude, you have like $1,000 to your name. You've been gone for 10 years. Like, you don't know anyone here anymore or whatever. And they're like, how are you going to do it? I was like, one customer at a time.
Yeah.
That's what I did. One customer at a time. The thing that I did was that it was like, everyone else that I knew in the game, because this is when you could put crazy points on things and it would work. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like you could buy a 10-pack in town and put 4 points on it and sell it to somebody with a straight face and they take it.
Right.
Like, that's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
And it stopped happening even back in the 2010s. But everyone else, that's what they would do. They would get their shit from because back then, like there was no internet, there was no social media, whatever. So like you actually had to know somebody to get a sizable amount of weed. It was not easy at all. It was like getting any other drug, basically. And then get good weed, get the kind you want, whatever. So like these dudes all had their lines and they would get their 50 or their 100 or their 200, like the big dogs back then or whatever. And they would put their 3, 4, 5 points on that shit and groove it. And that was their month.
Yeah.
They're making like $500,000 a year, 400,000 a half. I was like actually talking out loud about what people are making. Because like, okay, if you do 100 pounds a month and you're putting 4 points on it, that's 40,000 a month times 12. That's 480. So you're gonna have a little breakdown side. You're making between $480,000 and $600,000 a year tax free in 2010 in Pittsburgh or whatever. So like most people, and you're probably in your 20s.
Yeah.
And these are all white kids.
Right.
So you're just chilling. And you got your feet up, like you're going like fucking Thailand, like you're, like you're fucking models, like you're going to New York. Like, yeah, you're living very well, very leisurely, like whatever. I came in so far behind everybody. I realized very quickly I was not going to be able to crack that circle. They had what they needed for each other.
Right.
So what I did was I just started focusing on people who were copying eighths, like small customers. I was breaking everything I bought down to the fucking pebble.
Right.
I was trapping.
Right.
Because I was like, one, the profit margin's higher, and two, the competition level was really high even back then. But the eighth people, it was like they were like plankton. Like you're like a whale, just open your mouth, you keep scooping them up, scooping them up, scooping them up. Like they're not like jumping around looking for options, like whatever everyone else is. They're always trying to compete. Oh, I'm gonna steal him from you, whatever. Right. No one's stealing an eighth customer from, you know what I mean? Like
they don't care.
No, they don't care because they're making so much money. So it's like while they're just sleeping or whatever, I'm like slowly building this up step by step, whatever. So that like when I got the store open, I'm making wholesale money and I'm not even selling whole pounds. I probably sold like 3 whole pounds in the first like 7 years that I came back to Pittsburgh.
Right.
I broke everything down. I remember like when I was like by the drought in 2014, that's when I started selling whole pounds again because I bought some people's businesses and they had lows, like outs. Yeah. So I had to get outs. I had never even fucked with that shit before. I was only fucking with the most expensive weed and breaking it down. And then during the drought, so many people wanted pounds. Yeah, I was just getting them out the door.
Yeah.
Whatever. But like before that, nah, I was just breaking everything down. So I remember like it had gotten to the point where like just doing like hallway work, like in my apartment in Friendship, I remember like open up the closet and there was like $750,000 in a trash bag in like all 20s.
Yeah.
I put them in like the clamshells of $2,000 clamshells.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, every 50 is 100,000. You know what I mean? So like, it's like, there's like 500 of these clamshells, then there's another fucking 550 and like whatever. I'm like looking at it, I'm like
how'd that make you feel when you first started getting into all that money? Were you nervous? Were you excited? What was that feeling?
I was pissed off because every day it was just so much bullshit, bro. Like, yeah. I mean, you don't even notice it like when it's happening, or at least I didn't. It wasn't like I was like enjoying it really. My process of enjoying it was just trying to make more.
Right.
Because like I had to work like 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it was like, I mean, bro, I literally like, because this is how like granular it got before the store opened. I had like an apartment house in Friendship and I had like a fucking $600 1-bedroom apartment that I shared with now she's my wife. She was my girl then. Mm-hmm. I had like, the porch had like all this crap on it, like all apartment houses. Yeah, I literally would hide the bags on the porch and I would have to have like a system of remembering whose bag was what when I left the house. And then I have to come back and collect like all the money. So there were times like where I had to leave. I remember one time I went to go do a show in Erie with the 58s with Mayo. Yeah. I had to leave like 37 bags and I had to write that shit down on my phone. And I was up till 4 o'clock in the fucking morning.
Searching for bread.
Trying to find the bread. And I got all the bags back. You know what I mean? But it was hilarious. Like, it was crazy. Like, you know what I mean? It was like so granular because you're just doing it one bag at a time. I remember when I realized that if you made $271 a day or something like that, 365 days a year, you can make $100,000 a year. So I remember being like, back then the margin on eighths was like $30. Right. So I was like, if I sell 10 eighths a day, then I'm hitting it. 9 eighths a day.
Right.
I'm hitting it. So it'd be like 11:30 at night. I'd be like, please, someone else hit me, so I could get that. I'd be like, ha! Like, you know what I mean? It just rolled.
So you were really making goals for yourself day by day.
Yes, it was really. I was like, do this, and it was like every year, another 50,000, another 100,000. I made another 50,000, another 100,000. I remember I was like, one year I was like, I made like 300,000. Next year I made like 400,000. Next year I made like 500,000. Next year I made like 600,000. Yeah. Now I'm like getting to the point where I'm like, all right, now shit's like starting to really fucking roll.
Yeah.
And I had enough cash then that like my re-ups, like I could cop like anything anyone wanted off a re-up. You know what I mean? Like I could be like, I'm gonna get 100 of this, 50 of this, 30 of this, 20 of this, like
without even thinking about it.
Yeah, it started to scale. Because before, like what I would do is like I would just get like AAA za that was really expensive, and then I would sit on that shit because back then the weed was better.
Right.
It didn't disintegrate and like oxidize and shit. Like you could quadruple seal good weed and it would last you for like a year or two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It might get a little hard, but that's it.
Right.
So I'd have like cherry pie and shit like that, bro. Like I would have like 300 cherry pies. Each one of those was like 3,400. and I would have them like hidden in like friendship somewhere. And I'd be bringing them out one at a fucking time, stuffing the pound in 2 jars, and the jars would be in my fucking apartment. And I sold those out until every fucking one of those was gone. Yeah.
Now let's rewind a little bit, because I definitely want to get into the those lines in that system, because it was crazy. I remember I seen it evolve, right? I remember going to the trash can and lifting up under that whole nine. But so we're back in Pittsburgh. We're doing the law school thing. What made you want to get into law? Was it an ironic thing? Was it like?
Nah, it was like I wasn't trying to sell weed anymore. I didn't see a future in music in terms of providing for myself and a family one day, and any sort of lifestyle that was like how I grew up or whatever. So I realized, I was like, all right, like, what aren't you good at? Unfortunately, I was not good at anything technical or computer wise, because the guys that I grew up with that are like stupendously rich now, were worth like 8-9 figures. They all just went out to like California or Seattle, because like I'm like 44, so like if you're in like your 20s, like when the millennium flipped, like around, like if you were like 19 years old, 9/11, you just went out to California or Seattle, and if you knew how to do anything with the internet, you got rich. Either by grinding in relationships or by actually coming up with a product or programming or whatever. There's different ways of doing it. I just did not understand that world. There are people in my family who've leveraged that world to stupendous success. Some of my best friends, Icon runs like a huge search engine optimization agency in Manhattan and is very, very supremely successful. I just couldn't. So I couldn't do that shit. Wasn't good at hard science, so like being a doctor, which is a traditional path for like Jewish kids or whatever, well, I was never going to be a good doctor. I sucked at math and science. So I was like, I was decent at history and English. I'm like, all right, so like what involves reading and writing? It's a lawyer, and I was good at talking to people. I could argue. And like, I was like pretty streetwise for being from Squirrel Hill. So I was like, okay. I was like, I could be a criminal. And also, I had friends whose parents were like criminal defense attorneys, and like they lived good. Like they had nice houses, and like, they weren't like worth $1 billion, but clearly like the family was comfortable. You know what I mean? They were living in the nicest neighborhoods in Pittsburgh, and they had nice big houses, and they went on vacations. They didn't seem to be sweating money, like, oh, where are we going to eat? Or, they weren't pinching pennies or cutting corners, and they worked for themselves. And a lot of them were characters too. Like they didn't have to be like all corporate or like whatever. Like
they were themselves.
They wore suits, but they wore like sharp suits, like gangsters, like colorful ass suits. And like, they curse a lot when they talk to you. And a lot of them smoked weed, even though they're in their 40s and 50s. And I was like, all right, like this, I could see, you know what I mean? I was like, maybe I could be this. Like maybe this might be what works. That's what I thought.
It seems like with you're always thinking ahead too. Like you're planning for your future. You're always planning.
Yeah, it would be cool if any of those plans ever worked out once. Like, that'd be lit. Just one time.
It's tough, right? It's tough.
I appreciate it though. I be trying. I try, bro. I do.
So
I was trying to figure it out.
So you're doing that, and the reason I want to get to that, because I certainly want to get to the Thanks Dan commercial, right? Even prior to the commercial, did the script come first? Did the
script came first. I got Dan Myers, because he was shooting videos then. He put me down for that right when I started law school. It was like my first. That was funny too, because like I remember I just started law school. And then Myers was like, I need you to write this Underground Hood movie, like da 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 da. Like, so I'm like, I had just started school. Like,
so you're reading and writing all the time already.
Yeah, I just started school, and all of a sudden I'm like not going to class and shit. I'm fucking off class. I'm trying to write this movie, and then they're shooting it, and I'm like running around Pittsburgh with the crew and shit. And in my mind, I was like, I already knew. I was like, oh man, I was like, law school's not gonna work out. I don't want to. I was like, I don't want to do it. I want to do this.
Did you always have a desire to write a script? Did you always have a desire for filmmaking?
Not really, because I didn't think it was attainable. You gotta remember, like back then, the only way you made movies was you went to New York or Hollywood. That's it. You had to go to LA. You literally had to physically move to New York City or move to Los Angeles and like go to film school. Or just hang around and get jobs. Like, so like I was a cinephile. Like I loved movies. I watched like all kinds of like rare foreign films. I had like ideas about like movie technique and like whatnot, but I was strictly a fan. It wasn't, nowadays, like it's, again, people with like technology and shit, kids, like anybody could shoot a movie. Now they can shoot a movie off an iPhone. It's still very hard to do, but the means are more attainable.
It's there, yeah.
Back then, bro, like even the most low budget movies required budgets of hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it was so
out of reach.
So out of reach. It was so unattainable. I don't think it ever entered into my mind that it was something that I could realistically do.
Yeah. So when Dan approached you with the opportunity,
I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I'll run it.
Yeah.
And I had to get a bootleg copy of Final Draft for my boy, and like I'd like figure out how to do it. But I was just like, I can do this. I was like, I can do this. I can do this. They're like 1 page is 1 minute of dialogue.
Okay.
And I was just like, all right, so I'm gonna need like for like an hour and a half movie, I'm gonna need like 90 pages, 100 pages. I was like, I can do this. And I started thinking about it, and I cranked it out. I mean, I'm not saying it was the fucking Godfather or whatever, but you know, like, yeah, it
was a pretty dope production though.
No, it was. It worked out really, really well.
So for those who aren't familiar, tell us a little bit about undergrad and the film.
It was a movie about, it was kind of like a hood version of like Good Will Hunting, where it was about like a dude that finished up a state bid, and it turns out like he you know, like his like family and his girl basically tell him like, don't be a fucking loser, like you have to do something with your life. So he like goes to CMU, and he tries to apply to like get in, and they give him a test or whatever. I mean, it's all like very contrived. It's like not how it works, but he gets a test, and they're like, you knocked it out of the park. This is like the highest score we've ever seen in our lives. And they're like, who is really Good Will Hunting? Who is this guy? He has no formal education. He's like a career drug dealer. Like he's done like 3 prison sentences already, even though he's in his early 20s. So then like they decide, they're like, all right, you know, we're going to be like, we're going to like try and like mentor you like through the system or whatever. But then like he gets sucked into the temptations of, like, you know, his old life keeps basically
rearing his head.
Yeah, it keeps rearing his head. Like he can't
shake the streets.
Yeah, he can't shake the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like without giving too much of it away. That's kind of like the whole thing. It was crazy. I remember like there's a scene where I think Myers and
Beans was the lead role.
Yeah. Myers and some other dude got killed, and they shot them outside that barbecue spot in the north side. And they really had the guys with the prop guns and the blood packs, and like that shit was crazy. It was the north side too, and this was, I mean, north side's still wild. This was like the north side like in like 2009. So like
peak wild.
Dude, people are shooting and shit. They're like shooting even with the set and stuff, and they had cops there too.
Yeah.
Even then, people were coming out their houses like, what the fuck? It's like, because like from a certain angle, you just see like 2 dudes come out of the barbecue spot, and the 2 dudes just run down on them and just whack them.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That was a really, the guy who shot the movie was like an iPhone, like he was a commercial director, like he did commercials, and he had done 10 years in prison in New York State for a murder.
Okay.
He was a white guy. His brother was a famous actor. He was a television actor.
That's crazy.
His brother was a television actor, and he was like a hipster drug dealer. And some dude tried to rob him or something like that, and he chased the dude down on a motorcycle going across the Brooklyn Bridge and shot him in his car.
That's crazy.
And he got fucking manslaughter for that, and he did 10 years for it.
That's some Grand Theft Auto shit.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like the people I was meeting on the show, I was like, this is crazy, bro. Honestly, I guess it was probably a preview for what was to come.
What was to come, right? Yeah. So you wrote that, so we already had a skill set for that. And I mentioned that to get into the Dank Stan commercial. How did that come about? How did the idea for the Dank Stan commercial come about?
Well, it was like when it went
viral. It was crazy.
Right, it was old school viral too. Back when really pre-algorithm. Back when really it was some shit.
Where when it meant something.
Yeah. So like, I went to law school at an economically bad time to be a lawyer. Like that was right after the financial collapse, 2008 or whatever. The legal market was fucked up. It was the most fucked up it had ever been probably since the Great Depression or whatever. So usually the thing with law school is, you know, they beat your ass and they make you do all kinds of horrible shit and like whatever, like, you know, mentally they just crush you or whatever. And you know, it's a really hard job, but you're guaranteed to make a good living. And you're guaranteed back in the day, when you came, if you're from my parents' generation, if you graduated law school, you had a job the day you graduated. Now, some people have better jobs, some people, but everyone was guaranteed. It was guaranteed employment. You know what I mean? Like, because who is going to go through that and not have a job on the other side? Well, that fell out from under us, from my class when we graduated. It was the other way around, where there was no employment.
Right.
So now, after all this bullshit, I gotta like shuck and jive basically, and I'm like, what the? I have to hang out my own shingle and become a criminal defense attorney with no experience. So I had no experience, no connections, and no legal skill. How could I? I wasn't a lawyer yet.
Right.
So the only thing I had like some acting and like performing ability, and I had access to people who could shoot rap videos.
Right.
I had some marketing sense. So I was like, all right, I'll film a commercial. And my inspiration was always like the slip and fall lawyer commercials, because they were the only lawyers that had any personality. I mean, criminal defense attorneys didn't advertise. They would just maybe put like their name on a bus stop or whatever. Yeah. They didn't have any flavor or whatever. I think after I made that commercial, everyone does it now. Yes. I feel like I really was like the first one. I popped it off for like the whole country. Yeah. But yeah, so I basically was like, what if I made an ambulance chaser commercial, but for crime? Right. That was lit. And my inspiration was Edgar Schneider, because like he would just have these like
Snyder's from the Ville. Shout out Edgar Snyder.
Yeah, he would just have these super kind of dumb commercials with like really bad actors or whatever. He always,
but it was entertaining.
It was entertaining as fuck. You crack up, and he was always like, he always come hi, I'm Edgar Schneider. Like, don't you hate it when this happens? And it worked. Yeah, that dude was printing money for 40 years. Yes. So I was like, all right. I was like, I'll shoot one of those. And I figured it would get like 10,000 views or something like that. I figured it would be like a decent.
You thought it would get some traction?
I guess some traction, but I didn't think it was good. I had no idea it was going to do what it did. Right. And when I loaded it on the thing, I didn't even title it Thanks Dan. I think I titled it was like File 1, and I just linked it on my Facebook, and all of a sudden it was just like it was getting so many likes that like the button was basically every time I refreshed it, it was like
crazy.
It was like 100 likes, 700 likes, 5,000 likes, like whatever, and I'm like this, and that it happened so quickly. I mean, like anything viral. Yeah. Now I'm like fielding calls, I'm getting interviewed, like whatever. It's funny.
You were on the news and everything.
Oh,
for this.
Yeah. And the whole time I got like fucking 100 P's in that apartment. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeesh, bro. Like this was the whole thing was like, I thought it was gonna get me a little traction. I get some more clients in the door, and then I could like chill with that shit. Now I'm like wondering, I'm like, is this going to affect my weed business or whatever? So I'm like, I feel like people will be really shook coming to see someone that's like on TV.
Did it affect the weed business?
No. What it did was it basically ended my legal career, because like I was like, now I get shit from all the judges every time I go into court. They all hate me. Everyone hates me all because they have no sense of humor about this shit. Right. They all hate my guts, and I'm like, I can't do right by my clients. And I'm like, so like, am I going to give up the weed shit where like I'm already making a couple $100,000 a year doing it, and I can just chill all day, and, like smoke weed and kick it with my girl? Yeah. Or am I going to go downtown and get beaten up over this fucking commercial for the rest of my fucking life? I was like, I thought the commercial was making me hot. Yeah. So I actually disappeared. Like if you look at my social media, I was on it crazy. The commercial came out, and then it was like I ran from that shit. I was just like, I want no part of it.
That's crazy.
I ran.
I didn't even think about it in that aspect.
I ran from it. I I did not want any part of it. I tried to shut down being a lawyer as quick as possible, and I was just like, all right, because some great irony, the weed shit was just taking off at that point. And I was like, all right. And back then, you got to remember too, there were no content. Like again, I missed the boat so hard. I could end up doing like reviews of pasta or something. I could use the commercial, gotten the views, shunted people onto my Instagram page, and just made videos about anything for the rest of my life. And I'd be living in LA.
Legal advice on
living in LA and fucking up as shit.
No,
I did not understand how any of that shit worked, because it was so early on. Right. I didn't understand.
And being a street dude, you don't want that attention.
I didn't. Yeah. I didn't. And I realized it was like bad. Yeah. So I pushed it away, and I just focused on what was working.
Hey Jess, why don't we run the commercial? We're gonna play the Thanks Dan commercial, because that's just fucking classic, bro. I was so geeked to know you when the commercial came out. I was like, I know that guy.
I get sad when I see this commercial.
Do you for real?
Yeah, because like a lot of people in this commercial are good dudes and have had a lot of bad shit happen to them. Yeah. Like my cousin right there, he got popped right after that here in Uniontown. Yep. He did like 8 years. He's on bail now. He's about to have to go back in, probably do like 10.
Lonnie's cool.
Not Lonnie's good. No. Lonnie's good.
Yeah, Lonnie's cool.
It's just like, I don't know. It's just like Doc is dead. May he rest in peace. He got shot in Herrick at that after hours club at the Wormsby Club or whatever. Yeah, it's just like a lot of like weird, bad stuff happened to some good guys. I mean, Dale obviously passed. He got hit by the car going to go see his sugar baby. Like, it was almost like the curse of
my guy, man.
I was a dude, bro.
Yeah.
Chad's doing good, but it's like it was almost like the curse of the commercial. Certainly did no favors for me.
They sure suck, don't they? America was built on freedom, not on a bunch of people with more money than you telling you what you can and can't do with all their stupid laws. Laws are arbitrary. Hi, my name is Daniel Music, and I'm a criminal defense attorney based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I stand ready, willing, able, and committed to defend you on all manner of criminal charges, including murder, arson, burglary, bank robbery, simple and aggravated assault, and possibly even funny throwback crimes such as moonshining or pickpocketing. When you're charged with a serious criminal offense, you're facing the fight of your life. You need a lawyer who understands you and understands where you're coming from. Trust me, I may have a law degree, but I think like a criminal. Street knowledge. A lot of criminal defense attorneys around town are going to take your money and then blow you off. That's not me. I pick up the phone, I answer calls, I return letters, and I make jail visits because I'll probably be there visiting my friends anyways. I'm the Pittsburgh criminal defense attorney.
Every day when he was in jail.
When they commit crimes. I'm also licensed to practice in every single county in the Commonwealth. So don't feel left out, people in Beaver, Mercer, Crawford, Venango, or even Lehigh County. I'll go anywhere. Any criminal defense attorney who promises you a result is most likely a liar or a scumbag. But what I can promise you is my committed fighting effort to ensure that you are adequately defended on any charge that you're facing. Pay me now, thank me later. And remember, you keep your trap shut, and I'll keep your trap open.
That made it to my sentencing memo when I got indicted by the feds. Yeah. And then this part.
Oh, you gotta keep it going, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, that was it. That was the part too. No, that's cool. Yeah, man. Fucking great commercial.
Yeah, it was a doozy.
it was a great commercial, and it was brilliant, right? And it's funny because even when the news came out to interview you about it and report it, they gave you kudos about it, right?
Well, no, heads were trying to shoot at me, but I
dodged.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm trying to reach people where they're at.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Did I mention I'm Jewish?
Daniel Music is licensed in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania only. All participants in the commercial are actors, and their participation should not be construed as an endorsement. No results are or can be any actors who may have committed the crimes they portrayed, so without the knowledge or consent of Daniel Music. This advertisement should be considered a satire and entertainment. No actual crimes were committed in the making of this ad. All weapons and drugs were props and or facsimiles.
Yeah, no, such a brilliant commercial.
Thank you.
And it's funny because I would have never thought about it in the aspect of the way you were thinking about it, or imagine that your mindset was where it was as that was going on because of what you were into. And a lot of people probably couldn't conceive that you had that going on.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, the thing is too, is like, I can put like a suave spin on it now,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And like rationalize it. But like, I'm pretty self-aware. The other thing you have to remember is like, I'm fucking nuts.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm completely out of my mind. Like, I'm like crazy, like probably like very mentally ill. Yeah. So like a lot of times when I make decisions, I don't necessarily have like all the ramifications or consequences of like, it's enabled me to do cool things because like no one is just gonna like wake up every day in an apartment with like 800 pounds of weed. Like you can't even like get out of bed. There's so much fucking weed. And then just like go sell people eighths in the hallway. Like there's not like $2 million worth of weed behind the fucking, I mean, it's just like, like I literally like my compartmentalization game was so cold. I just like, you know, and like all people with like that criminal mindset, I just thought I could never get caught.
Right.
And like that everything would be cool. So it's like, I guess, like, you know, it's like now I could be like, yes, like I was thinking of this and thinking of that, but like, you got to also remember, yeah, like I'm pretty fucking crazy, because like otherwise, like a normal person or reasonable person would never sell weed and be a criminal defense attorney at the same time, and be a big weed dealer at the same time, and then make a commercial that like but to be fair, I didn't know it was going to do that.
Right.
I didn't know it was going to, but most people would be like, but I wouldn't even do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
if you had any idea that it would have turned into that.
Yeah, they wouldn't have even done it from break. I mean, I'm just like, I should make a commercial. You know what I mean? Like, looking back on it now, I mean, I understand why people like. Yeah, I mean, or you could say crazy's probably the best way of putting it. You also, this is monumentally stupid. It's just fucking retarded.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's also, you just be like, this guy's a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? But you know, yeah, it was cool.
Knowing everything that we know now. That's
yes, that is true. Hindsight is 20/20. Right. All I'm saying is, even like right then sight though, most people would be like, this seems like incredibly poor judgment.
Right.
Like almost like a psychosis level of risk taking.
Yeah. But you didn't see it that way at that time. You didn't.
No, because at that point too, like I was on my good run then. I've had 7 years of like where everything in my life's terrible. Like now, like I'm just like,
yeah,
you know. But like back then, I was hitting my stride and shit. I wasn't as high as I had gotten, but I was starting to like kind of move and groove. So I was just like, everything was kind of working out. You know what I mean? Like I had graduated law school. I got really sick. I had the colostomy bag. I almost died. Yeah. But I was fat as fuck, like I am now. And I lost all that weight. Yeah. I was like 150, bro. Like, you know, like fucking like dunking basketballs and shit, running marathons. So I'm just in my early 30s, I'm in like crazy good shape. Yeah. Just got married like a year or two ago. I'm making good ass money selling weed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm fucking high as fuck every day. Yeah. And like, I'm living in a $600 a month apartment in Friendship. Like, my bills are like $1,500 a month, and I'm making like $2,000 a day. Yeah. So it's like, I'm just saving everything. And I got a law degree. So it's like the world's, you know, I was like young. I was like, I'm wearing fucking $3,000 Brioni suits and shit. Yeah. My parents have no idea like how, like that I'm like a piece of shit, you know what I mean, or whatever. So I'm just like the golden boy. Yeah, everything was cool. Yeah. So I figured, I was like, yeah, one more. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, why not?
So let's get into the operation now, right? That we got into that stuff. Let's get into, because I was there I seen a lot of this go on firsthand, right? I remember you making that hand to hand, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just doing hall work. No one realized, because I would just come out in like a pair of basketball shorts and like a raggedy t-shirt. Yeah. I was just figured I was just some guy like who was in law school selling you an eighth.
Right.
It was
I remember I asked a homie who's a producer. I'm not gonna say who the homie was at this time, but I remember asking one of the homies who was a producer, I'm like, you know where I can get some bud from? He's like, hit up Dose Now. I was like, all right. And I hit you up and I got some bud from you, and I remember it's slowly growing. I remember the steps, like he's like, I'll just go underneath the trash can, grab it from there. I remember, like, all right, I remember that.
Yeah, it's just some guy just leaving it out for you. Yeah.
And then I remember Dale. I remember going to see Dale.
Yeah, that was Dale professionalized it. That's funny, Dale professionalizing anything. But like that fucking maniac. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was like, again, it was like fate was like meant for this, because like, of course I had like the dude from the Big Lebowski like living in my fucking basement. Yeah, he literally was. He was like a fucking like left-wing like labor terrorist that used to like blow up like steel worker bosses' houses, like once they close all the factories down, once they close all the mills down. He was like part of like the, you know, radical left wing like labor fighting. Like they were like taking hostages and blowing doors off banks and getting arrested. And then he fell the fuck off and became a fucking crackhead. Yeah. And he was a fiend, and he was shot the fuck out, and he was down bad. He was on Meals on Wheels, and he was like, every Pittsburgh apartment building used to have the fake superintendent that lived in the basement. It was always just a shot out white dude that would have an apartment that wasn't like strictly supposed to be an apartment. It was like the laundry room with a fucking bed. And he would do like menial work like around the shit, so he didn't have to bring in a real contractor, the landlord. And they would just like let him live there for basically free.
For nothing, yeah.
And that was Dale.
Right. And
his apartment became the store. But it was like, yeah, like he was just like, yeah, he knocked on my fucking ceiling one day with his cane, and he was like, get down here. And he talked like the Macho Man, Randy Savage, and he was like, I can smell that pot, brother. That's good pot, Dan. I was like, why don't you give me an eighth of that? And I was like, I thought he was like shaking me down.
Yeah.
So I sold it. I was like, my girl was like, don't do it. And, you know, like I get why, you know, but I was like, dude, it's like and this is an old porous house. You can smell everything. Like, right. I gave him that zip, and he got it. Gave him an eighth, he got it gone. I gave him a zip, he got it gone. Like, you know, I'm like, wait. I'm like, I could just send my people to him.
Right.
So now I don't have to be there anymore.
Right.
And now this can really grow.
Was that the first step into the store?
Yes. First, it was just Dale, and then it got to the point where like Dale was like 4 months later. Dale was like, I haven't left my fucking house in 7 days, man. He made so much money, he bought a boat, and then he couldn't ever go on the boat. he couldn't leave.
That's crazy.
So then we were like, well, we got to hire some people.
Yeah. Yep.
So then like we hired some people.
So I remember I hit up the number. I don't know if it was your number or if it was a number. And it was like, here, take this number. And they sent me a number back.
Yes, the dispatch system.
Yes.
Yeah, because then people started trying to fucking rob the store. So we put the liquor store doors on it, and we put the bars, and we put the fucking murder holes with the boiling water and shit like that.
Let's talk about it. So I remember the first time I got is like, call this number and you'll get a number. Or text this number.
Because we had a number that was 412-543-TREE.
Right.
Yeah, 543 tree.
So what made you come up with this concept, bro?
I saw I traveled, so I saw how like dispensaries kind of worked in other places, you know, or even like higher end traps in bigger cities, like illegal spots in like San Francisco, LA, New York, whatever.
So you were trying to model it after the dispensary.
I was like, if you just basically act like it's legal and professionalize it, you will make a lot more money because people will be more comfortable with the experience.
Right.
Plus, there's predictability. You have set hours, you have a menu, you have the same employees there they can talk to every day. Like you have a number they can call. Like it's all very it's organized. People want that. They don't want chaos.
Right.
The typical, I got to wait on my weed man to come home and he's on it. I was like, no, fuck that. The weed man's always there.
Yeah.
We're open from noon to 10, 7 days a week, half day on Christmas. That's it. Yeah. Like we're going 7 days a week. So it's like at noon every fucking day there'd be like people lined up down the block like the fucking Carter in New Jack City, except they're trying to get edibles and carts and weed.
Right. So it first started off with it was a couple jars, right?
Yeah, just a couple jars. Just like it was humble. It was like I was just leaving them like an ounce or two. This and he's like, hey, get some more stuff down here. More people are coming. They're asking for more things. Like so, I'm like, okay, we'll leave a couple jars.
It grew. Yeah.
It got to the point where now there's like fucking like 20 jars. There's a fridge for edibles and drinkables.
Yeah,
exactly. There's carts. There's fucking slabs of wax. Like there's everything you can think of. Pretty much anything you get at a dispo now was there just in that form of that time.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, back then the wax was shatter and sugar and stuff like that. It wasn't like live rosin or whatever. We had pre-rolls. I mean, we had anything I could source, and we could put some money on. We put down there because it all went.
Yeah.
With shrooms.
Shrooms,
big ass jar of shrooms, couple jar. Then it became, let's get some other kinds of shrooms in here. You know what I mean? It was like, it got to the point where I remember at the end, the store had gotten so big that when I would go to the store, which was rare, because honestly, I would just meet the people after, and they would give me my take for the day every night. I remember I was online, and an employee from the store, I didn't have a number, and they weren't trying to let me in.
That's crazy.
They had no idea who the fuck I was.
That's crazy.
They had no idea who I was.
It got that big.
It got that big.
You couldn't even get in.
I got that big.
Yeah.
Like they didn't even know who I was.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I know. I was like, man, this is some shit right here.
Were you nervous?
I was always nervous.
Yeah.
I was always nervous because shit would always happen. It wasn't like this was smooth and nothing went wrong in between it. And like, remember, I had a whole wholesale thing too. There's always shit. Motherfuckers running off on fucking 20 packs, being pieces of shit, not paying their debt back. People getting popped because, again, they still cared back then. They didn't even care as much as they did 10 years prior, but people were still dudes getting popped, cross-country shipments getting lost. Like, there's just every day, you're running, it's weed, but you're still running an urban drug trafficking organization. You're still running. I mean, it's like you have probably 60% of the same problems that the dudes from the wire selling heroin had. You do not have as much violence, you do not have people ODing, but you still had multiple law enforcement investigations nibbling around the edges, people getting pulled over. All right, well, who do they know? Who do they flip on? Do we have to move this here? Whatever. You have a shit ton of employees. Any one of them is a potential exposure point. The wholesale business, you got all these customers and employees on that side too. So it's like, again, people are getting pulled over. And like, I mean, we had lawyers on retainer. You know what I mean? Because like anybody who was in the organization who caught a case, we would put a lawyer on it. Because one, out of principle, if you're not telling, you're entitled to have someone fucking represent you strongly.
Did you have those conversations before?
Yeah. We was like, because like I tried to do this, like once I had the resources at that point, I was like, we're gonna do this like old school, like a real fucking organization. I was like, I am the boss, I am in charge. I was like, you're gonna see my lieutenants, you're not gonna see me that much. Right. If there's an issue, you can always pull up on me. It can be brought to me. We're going to walk around and talk about it. We'll either meet you in Friendship. I got a different office. I got the Squirrel Hill office, the Friendship office. We'll meet on Murray Avenue. We'll talk about it. We'll see what's up. And then, like, and then if something happens to you, yeah, we're going to bail you out. We're going to get you a lawyer. I mean, it got to the point, bro, like, for the bigger dudes, bailout, lawyer, and they were getting, like, $10,000, $12,000 a month in welfare money just to sit on their ass and fight just because they're not telling.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the expenses you have to pay if you're actually trying to do this right.
The right way, yeah.
The right way. I mean, that's like, it's a real organization. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like you can't just tell people what to do and expect them to do it if there's absolutely like no cushion for them.
How much money do you think you lost during that time?
Oh, I mean, so like the most money I ever had was probably like around like 4 million and change that I ever saw. Like I remember opening up a gun safe in this random spot where I kept it and seeing it was in like a really nice house in Shady Side. And I had a gun safe there. I opened up. It was like about 4 million. It was disorganized too. It was coming in so fast. I was literally just dumping handfuls of fucking cash in the gun safe, shutting it. And I remember I got sick to my stomach when I saw that because I was like, a lot of people I know would kill me for fucking like $5,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is like life-changing money for anybody.
Yeah.
If I had all the money I had ever made, like not just spent, I mean, I spent money too. I spent a lot of money.
Sure.
I probably lost easy another 4 or 5 million, like added up over time. I mean, I lost like 1.2 million on the day of the raid. I lost another $700,000 when a cleanup crew found where I kept like most of my weed and my money. I lost like just random people running off, like whatever, adding that up like a year over year, just all the bullshit. Like, you know, you just losing a shit, man. Like, didn't happen often, but yeah, no, I mean, I always made money. I always came out ahead.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, you would lose you had to account for it.
Yes.
You basically would be like, if I had a year where I didn't like lose any money at my peak, I probably would have made like, you know, substantially more money. I don't know how much, but substantially more. You would also have long periods where nothing would go wrong. You'd be like, holy shit, we are fucking grooving right now.
Yeah.
And then some bullshit happened, but damn, I lost like 80 bands. But back then the money came so fast, like 80 bands at worst. The worst 80 bands was a few weeks.
Right.
Best, it could be a week.
Right.
So it was like, what
difference does it make at that point?
I mean, you get sick. I remember like one time I lost $700,000 because I don't know. It might have been more, honestly. Again, the money was coming so fast. I did not personally have time to organize it. I was just dumping it in trash bags and hiding it. You know what I mean? And then I would go through it later.
Right.
I would count it as it came in, like to make sure that individual person didn't fuck me.
You got the right.
And then I was just because it was just like so much coming in. And there was a basement next to Fairmount, and I had the key to it, and it was a master lock, and that basement was flooded out and covered with like mud and leaking sewage from the pipe, so it smelled like fucking shit, right? And there was like old food in there. It was just like all the floods had like brought garbage down there and shit. People left bags of shit. It's making me fucking get gagged now thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna keep all my weed and money down here. For a while, that's what I was doing. Because it was right next to the trap.
Right.
And it was very lightly defended, but I relied on straight like subterfuge. Because one, no human being would want to be in this space for too long.
Right.
Like you would literally be like, you know what I mean? Like being like, it's like going to the bathroom.
Sewer. It's like being in a sewer.
You've been in prison. It's like a prison bathroom. Like a common prison bathroom. Yeah, like a fucking sewer.
Yeah.
Like a disgusting sewer. Prison sewer bathroom type shit.
Yeah.
So I would bury the weed in trash bags. I would seal it up and shit.
Of course.
Under the filth.
Damn.
And I would dump all the money in wet cardboard boxes and cover it with more wet cardboard boxes and tie it up in trash bags and shit. And it would just be like with like garbage like up to like my fucking like knees sometimes, right? like just like cans and fucking bottle, whatever. It was all wet, dry, whatever.
Yeah.
Nasty mud, like disgusting. No light there. You always had to use your phone or your flashlight. So it was a good spot because no one in a million years would think there was a single thing of value in this basement. What I didn't realize was that the landlord had gotten written up by the city. Actually, at one point, a city inspector went down there and looked through, didn't find any weed or money, but they weren't looking for that. They were just like, this is fucking disgusting. Yeah. So they told the landlord, who was the same one who had the trap building too, they're like, you have to remediate this immediately. And this guy owned like 5,000 units. I was cool with a lot of his employees, but they didn't know every single thing that happened in every single place.
Right.
They literally went to Home Depot and got some Mexicans and crackheads. So I go there one afternoon. Like I had probably been there in like a day or two. I go there in the afternoon because one dude wanted a pound of chem dog, and my boy, and I had just gotten the spot in Squirrel Hill, which had a locked garage or whatever, but I didn't have like hard boxes yet, so I wasn't using it. I was lazy. I open up the door and I notice that the stairs are completely clean. Like clean. There's no dirt, there's no grime, there's no garbage. There's
that had to be concerning.
Bro, my dick shriveled up, my nuts went in my shit like that, like adrenaline saliva started hitting. I walk in, there's nothing there. There's nothing in the basement. There's nothing. There's no garbage. There's no nothing. It had been completely cleaned out.
That's insane.
So I'm like, oh no.
You're probably thinking worst case scenario too.
Well,
right?
I called the people who work there to meet me out back. I was like not functioning properly. I was like, do you think it's the cops? Do you think it's the cops?
Right.
And they're like, it's not the cops. They're like, we called the office already. It's not the cops. They were like, the fucking cleaning crew clearly found your fucking weed and money. So like, imagine
Could you
like
imagine that crew?
Dude, a bunch of crackheads and like Mexican, bro, it's over with.
Yes.
So I followed them around the city. Like I kept getting to the last place they were. I found a dumpster in Highland Park. I climbed in the dumpster. There were hundreds of torn pound bags in the dumpster. You can see they had just been ripping all my weed open and like seeing what it was. Or you take this, you take that, whatever. They said all of them turned their phones off, and that was it. They never heard from any of them again.
That's insane, dude. Yeah. So they had money and weed.
They had money and weed. Divvied it up. Score of a lifetime.
Bro, you're gonna have a whole bunch of people out here doing cleanup jobs. Hoping to come across a lick.
Bro, score of a fucking lifetime, bro.
Yeah. Damn.
I mean, bro, I wanted to fucking kill myself. The one thing is, though, I had motion.
Yeah.
So all I had to do was keep reeing up. I mean, I had way less money now.
Yeah.
But it almost didn't matter.
Right.
So I realized is like emotion is more important than anything.
Right.
Because like literally I set a goal for myself. I was like, I'm going to make every penny of this back in 200 days or something like that. So I'd have to make like $3,500 a day, every day profit or whatever. I set like the thing, and it was like, maybe it was like 210 or 20 days later. I was in Mendocino, California, NorCal, where all the weed is. But I was there with my family. My dad had rented this sick ass mansion on a cliff and shit like that. And I remember I was getting interviewed by CNN about like something for the Supreme Court. And I was walking around with like my fucking Diamond Supply hoodie on, like my Supreme hat, like smoking joints with my girl. And Dale hit me up, and he was like, he told me like what I made for the day, and I was like Homer Simpson. I was like, woohoo! I'm in on the way.
Yeah, right.
I was like, I'm back, baby. So it was like at that point, like I realized at that point, like I understood. I was like, the motion, like I have so much motion, like it's like
untouchable at this point.
Yeah, it's untouchable. It's like every day profit. I'm gonna make $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in my pocket every single fucking day I wake up.
Yeah,
like doesn't matter if I'm there or not. Doesn't matter. Like
it's just a machine now.
It's a machine.
Yeah,
it's my problem was getting enough weed at that point. It was like literally like, can I find enough of the right kind of weed
to supply?
Yeah, that they're willing to bring to Pittsburgh for the right price to give to these people.
Right. Damn. So that's the height of it, right? That's all the good stuff, man.
Yeah, that was no. It got even higher than that. It got to the point where like I was just like, I never even came home anymore, like barely. Like I was just like living in foreign countries with my wife. Like I was in, like Portugal and like Morocco and Japan, and like I just come home like once in a while just to fucking look at my money, like take some meetings with people, and then just leave.
So you had to have a lot of people around you that you trusted, right?
Yeah. No, that's I had a really professional workforce, and I paid them really well. I mean, I was paying them like $3,000-4,000 a week plus like all the weed they could sell.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So and that was whether I made money or not. Like I take an L, I still have to pay them.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot of dudes were making so much money off me that it was like, it was rolling.
Better than any day job they can get.
Oh, way better. I remember like, bro, like I had we had like a suite at the Conrad in the financial district in New York or whatever. And I would just sit there on like 2-3 phones all day long, just walking around Manhattan in like hoop shorts and like fucking Vans, like a big fat joint in my mouth. You know what I mean? Just working 2 phones all day.
Yeah.
Just like it became like numbers. Like, bro, I had people that I was selling hundreds of pounds to that I had never met once in my life. They were referred to me by somebody. I talked to them on an encrypted app on my burner, and then they only saw my employees.
Right.
Like dudes I sold boxes to mad times. Never met them.
Right.
Not once. It had gotten to that point where it was just like, it was all theoretical. It was just like numbers. Like I would get sheets where it's like this many of this many of that, 872 total pounds like being delivered or whatever. And then like I would get the notes from my people, be like, he took 200, he took 300, he took 60, he took 100, he took this, like he took 120, like whatever. And he's like, there's like 17 pounds left over. We're going to put them in the store, like bop, 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 bing, bang, boom, like, you know, like whatever. Like I would have to have people drive out to where I was if I was in the country. If I was in the country, it didn't work. I'd have to have people drive out to where I was and hand me money. Like I'd be in New York, I'd be like, I need like another 10 or 15,000. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm blowing like obviously like stack or two stacks a day in New York. You know, just living. Yeah. So that was the height. That was like where I was like completely disconnected from like any reality that a normal person would experience.
How much you think you were making at the height of it if you had to break it down?
1.4 million a year in my pocket every year for like a couple of years. I think that was like, because I'd make up like $1 million wholesale and like 400 off the trap.
Yeah. Damn.
And that was after all the L's and paying employees. That's not gross. That's my take home.
Right. That's insane.
Yeah.
So even more than that, gross.
Way more. Way more. Bro, I only make like 5% a week on the wholesale.
Damn.
So it was like on the wholesale, like if I spent if my re-up was $500,000, I would make 25,000 pure profit. If my re-up was $1 million, I'd make like 50. And that would be depending on how much weed I could get, what the demand was, like whatever. But it was like, I knew I was locked in. Like my worst weeks, I was going to do like 250-ish. And like my best weeks, I was going to do like 800-ish. So I was probably like hitting around like about 2,000 a month at my height.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Then it got all bad.
So
I got Stinger missiled and shot out of the fucking sky.
So let's get there. So you're going through that. Everything's good. Life's good. You're traveling.
The best. It's like living a dream. Look, I know I hate it's a movie, but it really was. Like I mean, it was really like
a movie.
It was the best life.
Yeah.
It was. People are like, money's not. Money's everything, bro. It was everything you could ever imagine it would be. It was better. Trust me. I haven't done both or whatever. No, it is that good. Yeah, it's that good. So don't let them lie to you.
No, for sure. That's what they tell poor people to keep them poor.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. It was that good.
It's definitely that good.
It was that good. It was better.
So what happened? So what was the?
There was a gang in Braddock called the SCO Gang, and they were under investigation for selling hard drugs and probably shooting at people and shit like that. And they had like, Braddock's a small town, so like they overwhelmed the local police force because there's like 40 of them and shit, and they're like real gangsters.
Yeah.
And they're real G's, and that like little tiny police department could not handle them, so they brought in the Allegheny County Narcotics Detectives, and the Allegheny County Narcotics Detectives brought in Safe Street 6, which is the FBI task force. So now it's a federal investigation.
Right.
So they did the real wiretaps, cameras, trackers on the cars, paying fiends to become informants and putting cameras and mics on, like the whole nine. Full court press.
Yeah. And this is for the SCOs. Yeah.
It's for the SCOs. So like they they're in the midst of investigating them like and they want to put every one of them in prison or whatever, and I think they almost did. And they bought weed off a guy who bought weed off a guy who bought weed off of one of the guys who worked for me.
Right.
So
you weren't even on their radar.
I had no idea who the SCOs were.
Right.
The SCOs had no idea who I was.
Right.
They had their phones tapped, the SCOs, and then they tapped the one dude's phone, and then the one guy who was my customer was talking into that wiretap, so his phone wasn't tapped, but it might as well have been because he's calling a tapped phone over and over again from the same phone. So then they follow him around, they slap a tracker on his truck, he takes him to the fucking wholesale location in Squirrel Hill, they set up on it for a week or two, and then one day they hit it. On May 24th, 2019, they hit it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. So where were you at when it happened?
So that morning, like I had been going through it with my plug. Like there was like a discrepancy, like a 1% discrepancy on the re-up, which is going to be like $4,000 or $5,000.
Right.
So it's enough to worry about because I'm only making $100 a piece. So it's like I'm not giving you back 250 bands a year over this.
Right.
And he's on the same tip. He's probably making less a piece than me because he's doing way more. He's like, I'm not. So I was like, look, I'll bring the money to shore it up. And then we're counting everything over by hand. We're zeroing out, and then we're just going from there. And that was so I had to be up there that day, which I wasn't even going up there anymore. And we were under surveillance that day. I didn't realize it. So they let the re-up come in. There was like 150 pounds that were already in the orange boxes in the garage or whatever, like the rigid lock boxes.
Yeah.
And then there was like 250 some pounds coming in on a truck. Like a F-250 or whatever, not like a F-250. Yeah. So they pulled in, they let it unload, they let it come in, they let it get stacked up, they let us all talk to each other in the front, and then the truck pulled off with the money, $469, $475 in cash, and then the weed was there. They pulled the truck first, leaving Squirrel Hill. So like a couple minutes after it leaves. So I get a call on my burner phone, and it's from the people who had come with the driver to count the money. And they're like, it was like one of my plugs, like lieutenants, I guess. And he was like, yo, that dude just got pulled leaving Squirrel Hill. And I was like, well, I don't know why he went through there. I told him not to. They had a DUI check. Man, no fucking DUI checkpoint. Like, you know what I mean? Like I just, my criminal defense mind kicked in pretty quickly, and I ran back in there and I told the people working there, I was like, they just pulled the driver. They're going to hit this place with a search warrant really soon.
Yeah.
I knew it. I was like, they're going to hit it with a search warrant.
You already knew procedure.
Yeah. I was like, this wasn't an accident. So it's a bang bang. That means that they're coming back here. Like, ain't no way.
Right.
So now like an argument breaks out as to like what we're going to do. Like, are we going to, I wanted to get as much weed out of the place as possible and just throw it places, like throw it off the side of the hill, put it in dumpsters and other apartment buildings, like whatever. My mind, I was like, look, I know Squirrel Hill like the back of my hand. I was like, even in a chase, if they are behind us, if I can even get a few minutes before they catch back up with us, 3-4 minutes, I can get enough of this off that it could, we'd be okay. We'd be okay. They weren't trying to hear it. They're old dudes. They're like, nah, don't know. We're gonna just wait it out. The one guy left. He got in his truck and left. They didn't pull him over. He left his phone there though, which was sad. It's sad in the end. And then the other guy, he told me, he's like, hey, look, just walk out of there, like real casual, like you don't know anything bad happened. And as soon as you get out of eyesight of the place, run for your fucking life.
Right.
Just run. So I go up the stairs, the city steps to Hobart Street from Cavode. And then as soon as I get to the top of the steps and I'm out of view of the apartment, I just running for my fucking life. And I run into Shenley Park. I sprint in there. I fall down the side of the hill. I'm trying to look on the parkway to see where the car has been pulled over.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see. I just wanted to see what was happening. I had this urge to like know what the fuck was going on. Because it was getting nuke striked out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I knew it was bad. I just didn't understand. I was like, how the fuck, like, where did it come from?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Map in your head. Yeah.
I'm like, how? Meanwhile, people are blowing my phone up. They're trying to get their order. There's dudes in foreigns, young dudes in foreigns all around the neighborhood, Beamers, Benzes, Porsches, whatever. They're all trying to re-up, grab their 100, their 50, whatever. I'm like, don't fucking go there. I'm like, do not go there. It's all bad. It's all bad. So I kept the thing on my phone inside the battery, my burner phone, that literally had the dudes who worked that spots, like wives and kids' phone numbers.
Like emergency contact.
So I get a call on my phone, and it's not from an encrypted line. It's just straight call. Like not an app. It's just straight call. Open line call. I used to find people for those. I'd be like, open line call, you owe me $100.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no open line calls. No naked calls. I pick up the phone. It's the dude from a spot. And he just goes, they're here. And I can hear it like, boom, 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 search warrant, get on the ground, open the door, put your hands there. You know what I mean? I can hear it. I'm like, I'll bail you out. And he's like, yep, see you. So I cracked the back off the phone. I had to take out the shit for his
emergency contact
family. And I started calling people's families and shit. And I'm like, yeah, it's all bad. So then I had to go home. I remember I ran through. I got picked up by somebody else randomly who had something to do with the spot. I was running across the parkway by Squirrel Hill and Greenfield. I made it down there. And I saw someone who had something to do with the store. He literally stopped when he saw me. I got in the car. He drove me back to Highland Park. I jumped out. I went to the back door. I knocked on the back door. You know, my wife comes down and she's like, what's up? Like, she's like, everything good? Like, she had no idea. I was like, we got to go right now. I was like, we have to go right the fuck now. I was like, pack a bag. We got to go.
Yeah.
Because I figured they were going to get me, but I had to bail everyone out and see what the fuck was going on before I turned myself in.
Right. Did you have that opportunity?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they didn't come and get me until like fucking 2.5 years later. So.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. So I had the beginning of a long wait in hell. Like my whole life went from being great to being terrible. Like ecstasy to utter agony.
Right.
That just constant grinding anxiety and terror and fear started that day, and it never ended, really. You know what I mean? Just
what was that like when you had to like break it to your family and tell them what was going on?
Yeah, so like I waited because it was a state case to start, so I still had this like faintest. But when I bailed the driver out, I saw that they had a federal search warrant. It was a federal. I read the thing. It was federal. Right. So I gave it to my lawyers, and they were like, "This is gonna go federal." Like, I don't know why it's fucking weed, but they're like, "I'm not sure how this works yet, but they're like, it's gonna go federal." Remember, we didn't know anything about the SCOs yet.
Right.
We have no idea why this happened. We still don't know, but we just know something really bad is going to happen.
Right.
They give them high ass bails, like 75 bands each, whatever. I mean, you only got to put down like 7. I pay them. Get them out, get them lawyers, sit tight waiting. June 12th, it was 3 weeks later. I get a text message early as fuck in the morning from my homie. He's a lawyer. He was like, well, feds just came and kicked in the door, and they got him. They got a bunch of other people that I didn't know were in trouble yet. Like the one guy who left his phone there, and one of the customers. So now I see how the link is, like where it must have come through him.
Right.
I don't know how yet or whatever. He's like, they got them all. They're taking them downtown right now. He's like, they're indicted. He's like,
when did you figure out? Oh, that was after the affidavit and all that stuff came
when I read the indictment, I kind of saw that there was one dude who was in both indictments. So I saw that he was like the hinge.
Right.
Like, because he was selling weed and coke.
And you could read this stuff pretty well because of
my legal background. Right. So that day was the day I had to tell my mom and my dad. So like my dad was like getting ready to like speak at like a trucking like conference in Indianapolis, like go on stage in front of like 1,000 people from his industry and receive like an honor or whatever. Yeah. I take an Uber to Squirrel Hill, and I knock on the door. My mom's there. I'm like, yeah, I gotta talk to you. She's like, what's up?
That had to be like the hardest part, right?
Oh, it was terrible. I felt like shit. Yeah. I mean, like, it was like a colossal disappointment. I'm gonna age my parents like 20 years. You know what I mean? And like everything is like it's all a lie. Like everything, like law school, like everything, your like career, your properties, like whatever. It's all a lie. You're a fucking criminal.
Right.
You know what I mean? And a huge criminal, apparently, who's in a fuck ton of trouble, potentially.
Right. Was that was that relationship changed from there with those guys?
Yeah, I mean, my parents are great people who are really, really kind and love me unconditionally. So like, you know, like they're still cool to me and like still look out for me and like support me and whatnot. But I mean, yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, because like you just lay that at their feet and like you're like almost 40 years old and you're like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Now again, they rode out for me and supported me.
Sure.
You know, whatever. So that wasn't like they like turned on me in any way, shape, or form. They were kind and like whatever, but it was an enormous blow and huge shock. Made him sick. Yeah. And then it was like just got worse and worse from there because then it was like the case is federal. Now they're indicted. I get these guys all lawyers. Then my lawyers are like, you know, the way the feds work, they're so meticulous and they take so much time to do things. So it's like being in like
conviction rate so high, right?
Yeah, and well, the fact they have those mandatory minimum sentences that make people snitch.
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, make people choose to snitch, but the mandatory minimums are certainly a strong hammer that they use, you know, on people that makes weak people flip fast. So like, it's like being in like now I'm in like a spy movie where like everyone's like I'm being watched. I mean, I know I'm being followed. I know I'm being watched. Any day I think they're going to kick in my door and get me. And then the news I'm getting from like, you know, I got all my pickets out in the ocean looking for the submarines.
Right.
It's all bad news. Like my lawyers are like, yeah, man, like they're telling on you. Like you are getting told on. Like right now, as we speak in a room, these dudes he's sitting down, he's sitting down. You know, like it's bad. Like you're going down.
Now you've done a lot for these people, right? These individuals who are working for you. You've
certainly,
and you've done a lot of things to ensure if a situation like this occurs that they'll be taken care of.
I did everything I possibly could do on my side to understand and assuage them.
Were you surprised? Were you surprised that they flipped?
Yes, I was, and I was really, really hurt. And now I feel so naive because I see after being in the federal system and seeing like how often the betrayal occurs. And like, it's funny, you're like, you're a criminal defense attorney. Well, I wasn't a federal criminal defense attorney. Right. I know that sounds like a dumb excuse, but it really is a different world. And being on the other side of it, being a defendant and a convict and a prisoner and like all that, you really see the level of betrayal and like how deep it is. Yeah. When it happens to you the first time, from people that you were close to and you had love for and you cared about, and like I guess at one point they cared about you. I mean, it is the sickest feeling, and they're killing you.
Yeah,
they're literally murdering. It's like being shot, but it takes way longer. They're just like slowly twisting a knife in you, and they're robbing you. It's like someone robbed you for millions of dollars, but they're not robbing you they're robbing you of your life. Like you know they are talking. Even more precious. Yeah, they're talking those words, and those words equal years.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to pay that unless you want to go be a snitch too. Yeah. So it's like having that. It was like every day you wake up, you're just sick to your stomach. Like you're just like you can't ever get free of it. It's always on your mind, and it's happening so slowly. And then the one dude killed himself. So it's like now it's like I vomited when I literally got physically. It's just like, you know, it's like it's a horror movie at this point.
Did you wear that? Did you wear that? His death?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I remember it was Mayo's dad. I met Mayo and I gave him the money for the funeral. I gave him the money to, I don't know if he buried or cremated or whatever, but he's like, I don't got it. I was like, here. Of course.
Yeah.
And he was crying. I remember I met him by Tazadora on Highland Park on Highland Avenue. And we were both just crying.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know. You know, I just knew I was like at this pit in I was like, I was like, it is so bad now, and it's going to get so much worse. Yeah. Like I knew it. Yeah, I mean, it's just like meticulous, just twisting that knife.
So you go through this. You finally have the day of sentencing, right? And you go through that process. What was it like when you finally got up to the feds?
Well, I mean, I was on bail. I got indicted 2.5 years later after I kind of thought they weren't going to indict me, as naive as that was. So that was like getting thrown back, get flattened again. You know what I mean? Because we'd like restarted our life.
Yeah.
I'm on bail for 8 months. I get sentenced. I got like 60 days. I got self-report. because I had no criminal record. Right. It was a weed crime. I had 5-year sentence. So I got sent to Morgantown, which is minimum camp, or they call it minimum security FCI. Same thing as like a camp. So I got self-report. So I remember that day, I literally wake up in the morning. It's a beautiful spring day. It's May 12th, I think. Yeah, May 12th, 2022. And I actually had the dudes who shot the commercial. I had them, like, they're filming a documentary about it or whatever. It hasn't come out. And they filmed me going in. They picked me up and they filmed me going in. But I remember I said goodbye to my wife. I kissed her. I told her, I was like, I promise I will come back through this door someday. I mean, it sounds dramatic, but you've never done a day before. And I'm like, fuck, 5 years?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. Yeah, I was flattened. My phone's blowing up with people. Like, everyone's like saying bye to me and shit. And again, I refused to talk, so I had a lot of people who were on my side. I had a lot of love from the community, the hip hop community, the weed community, the streets, whatever. I did have a lot of love, and I appreciated it, and I still do. Yeah. But it was sad because like they're all gonna wake up tomorrow and live their lives. Right, I'm like, I'm hit. So we get in the van, we leave Pittsburgh, go by here, past Uniontown, Greene County, hit the fucking West Virginia County line. Remember we stopped at a gas station, I pissed or whatever outside, and I was like, I looked at this hill and I was like, man, I could just run up this hill right now and disappear. I was like, it wouldn't change anything. Right. So I got in the car, pull up to the guardhouse. I'm like, hey, I'm here to they do this all day. Right. Self-surrender. It's funny, these guys all like friendly and shit, and then it's like the further down you go into the jail, the less friendly they get. You know what I mean? Now you're a prisoner. Yeah. Get you out of your clothes, they put you in the chomo pants and the Jackie Chans. Those are like the karate shoes. They had me in like a holding cell. I'm like sitting there. It's like first time I'd never been arrested before. Right. I had gone through no criminal record, clean. Yeah. So I was like sitting there, like trying to like breathe, like woosah. You know what I mean? Then they walk you on the compound. It's like completely dead outside because it's not like movement time. Yeah, it's not active. And they open up the door. Morgantown, it looks like you're sleeping in the visitor center of a national park, like one of those like giant mid-century modern huts. And they've just like whacked it down into like 150 bunks. You know what I mean? Just everywhere, bunks and shitty foul bathrooms, and then a big TV. And the minute where the lodge would be, where the great hearth would be, is a giant is a bunch of TVs. Yeah. You know what I mean? Your payphones or whatever. It's a really weird setup for a prison, like strange set. It's like literally think about that. It's like sleeping in the visitor center of a national park. Yeah, which is crazy. You walk in like one of those big, long, low buildings with the long, like mid-century modern. Like where like it's only like 10 feet or 8 feet tall, but then like the big roof, you know what I mean? Like pitched roof. Yeah. They had like a chapel that looked like a Vegas wedding chapel there. It was beautiful. It was all blue. Everything was blue. Like the glass was blue. The carpet was blue. It was weird. It was really weird. It was a beautiful place to do time. It was fucking crazy. They had ponds, like little Japanese bridges. I felt like I was in Alcatraz though, because I'd never done time. I was like, this is intolerable. Meanwhile, no, it was like probably one of the softest places in the country to do time. It was a shitty prison though, because it was filled with snitches, and they really were like serious about like making sure you were miserable there. Like they didn't let you they didn't want you to have a phone. They didn't want you to eat good. They didn't want you to do any of the stuff that minimum security usually entails. So it was actually a really miserable. And anyone who went there would attest to that. Like they grind you down there by being petty and shitty. Right. And the shoe is still a real shoe. Yeah. You are still locked down 24 hours a day. There's no air conditioning. It's 108 degrees there in the fucking summer. That metal red roof, they call it the Red Roof Inn. You walk in a dog cage with barbed wire for your rack. Like, I mean, it's the same shoe. It's the same federal program. So, and they will put you in the shoe there for having like peppers and onions. Oh, really? So it was like a really weird place. It was like soft in some ways. And then in other ways, it was like ridiculously punitive because they would break your shit there for stuff that they would never bother about at a higher security prison. Right. Because they just like having their foot on your neck. Right. But I remember, I walk in, they keep the buildings dark because everyone's just like sleeping all day and shit. I walk in and I'm just like, there's all these shot out people there and shit. You know what I mean? This one guy could say, hey man, like, he's like, you're from Pittsburgh? He's like, I got arrested in Pittsburgh. He's like, you smoke crack? He's like, I got arrested by bringing a bunch of crack and heroin to some hookers in Pittsburgh or whatever. He was a cool ass dude too. He had being a good ass guy, but it was just like
a character.
I mean, prison's replete with characters.
Right.
That's like all prison is, a fucking repository of characters. But yeah, no, that was like my first day. Thankfully, I knew some people there that had already gone down. Not on my case, but I knew some other Pittsburgh weed guys there or whatever. And one dude, he blessed me. He pulled up with the fan. He had fucking iPhone for me. He had fucking a bunch of outfits. He had commissaries. He was finishing up. I only overlapped with him for like 2 months, but like he made sure I was like comfortable coming in. Thank God. Yeah. But no, I was miserable. I used to crack up. They'd be like, "Wow, how's Dose doing life in the camp?" Because I'd just be on my bunk, just like miserable, bro. Like stressed the fuck out. Yeah. But like shit was bad though. Like, you know, like we lost an adoption over that, so we didn't think we were going to be able to be parents. Right. And like I ended up like losing all my properties behind that. Not that the government took them, just like
not being able to
yeah, I wasn't there, and like my dad had to do it. My dad has a whole ass other job. This is not his job, so he's doing the best he can by me. But like I also, again, I made some like dumb buying decisions, and like if I was out, I could have like shucked and jived and like done this here and off that, maybe made this into like a sober living house, but it's like I'm not there, so like just run as is. They're just going to keep doing worse and worse and worse, and then get fire sold, and that's what happened. So like I'm like watching everything crumble day by day off my phone.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and then eventually I get popped with the phone. I go to the fucking hole for like 4.5 months. You know, like all through the summer, I'm in the fucking hole. After being there for a year, I got kicked out of the drug program. So like SIP, I got booted out of SIP because I got caught with a cell phone. Yeah. And then I get taken in shackles on the bus to the airlift at the military airport outside Pittsburgh, put on Con Air, go to Oklahoma. Fucking, I'm in the airport prison, the Federal Transfer Center, with like people from all over the country, like all security levels. There, like dudes are like, I got 4 life sentences for like a contract murder outside of America. Like, there with fucking like Serranos, like homies from LA, like they're wild motherfuckers, like shot out people. Yeah. And then they take me to fucking Philly. They dump me in the detention center in Philly for a few weeks. Yeah, same thing. It's like all these young dudes on Hobbs Act robberies. They all got like 60 years for like murders and shit, like federal murders on Hobbs Acts. Then they put me on the bus and they take me to fucking Fort Dix, which was like a fucking madhouse in its own. I did like another like 2-3 years at Fort Dix and then finally went home.
Yeah. Now, with all that, right, going from all those different levels, having the highs, having the lows, then coming back, like what's been the biggest adjustment getting back home?
A lot of it. I mean, I came back home. We were able to have a child. My wife successfully was able to have my child after I went to prison. So I came back home to a 20-month-old girl. Yeah. So it's like I went from never having seen her except on a smuggled cell phone. Right. Yeah, I'd be on my phone all day once she was born, like FaceTiming and talking to her. But now all of a sudden I'm like a parent. Yeah. But not really a parent because I don't know shit about parenting. I'm just a fucking guy who's here. Yeah. I have to having to learn how to do that on the fly. And I'm old. I'm 42 when she was born. I'm 44 now. Yeah. So like that, I mean, everything. Like I have to start a business from scratch with a fraction of the resources that I had before. Like, it's just been honestly, I mean, look, it's way better than being in jail. I'm not tripping or whatever, but it's not fun. Right. Can we pause this real quick?
Yeah, man. No,
So this is a symptom of it or whatever. That was just my wife hitting me up. She wanted to see if I was okay. Right. She knows, she knows where I am, whatever, but just perpetual terror. And I understand that why, because it's one day I left my house and I didn't really come back.
Right. Right.
One day I walked out the door and I didn't come home for 4 years.
Right.
So it's like, I'm not, and I get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I understand, like, you know what I mean? Because like, this is so it's like those things.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, everything's very fragile. Like, your freedom's very fragile. Your future is very fragile.
Relationships.
Yeah. Everything's hard.
Yeah.
Everything's just like, I'll put it like this. I am so glad that my wife didn't leave me. Yes. And obviously I'm so glad that we are parents of our baby girl.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Everything else kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, no, I'm good. My family, I'm glad I'm my parents. I saw my brother again. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like all that. I don't want to be in jail. I'm like, jail was cooler. Like, I'm stupid.
Right.
But, and we don't have to wrap. We can finish up, take another 10, 15, whatever. But but yeah, man, like, everything's hard now, bro.
Yeah.
Like, everything is really, really hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's like my brain, I think, like, being in jail, and again, I understand there's dudes who do 30 years, there's dudes who are doing 40 years in high security penitentiaries where people are getting fucking murdered in front of them every day and like da. So like, I'm in no way equating my experience to them. But given like how my life was, how dope it was, and where I'm from, and my relative level of, I guess, privilege and ease or whatever, then having to go through that experience like in jail, you're like, bro, I got stabbed in jail.
Did you?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I got stabbed in jail.
That's crazy.
I did. I got stabbed in jail. Like, it was not fun. I got stabbed in jail because 2 dudes tried to take my cell phone. I wasn't going for it. So I had to fight 2 dudes with knives who knew that they were coming to get me. I was in the bathroom stall at 1 a.m. It was fucking 95 degrees outside. Again, I'm just thinking about how my life is completely fucked. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have, like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I cannot believe how good my life was. I'm thinking about like Paris. I'm thinking about Amsterdam. I'm thinking about, you know, my wife and I like flying first class. I'm not trying to be materialist. It's not the material thing. It's the experiences.
Yes.
The beautiful experiences that the freedom and safety and comfort of money allows you to have adventure and safety at the same time.
Yeah.
And now I'm sitting in this disgusting fucking prison. You know, Fort Dix.
You're at the bottom of the bottom.
Yeah. Fort Dix is a Cold War military barracks that got sloppily repurposed into a jail. It looks like the jail from that Hardo and Deasley video, Depend on Me, where like it looks like a school that they made into a jail. You sleep in the old barracks or whatever, so it's like sleeping in like a shitty elementary school,
right,
like from when you were a kid, like a fucked up ghetto elementary school. It looks like the projects. Like, it doesn't look like, if you were there having been in another jail, you'd be like, what the fuck is this? Because there's 3-story buildings. It is brutally hot. You're in a swamp in South Jersey. You're connected to a military base. So there's fighter jets. I'm talking like A-10s and F-15s landing all day. Cargo planes, like so close you could touch the tanks.
Yeah.
Apache attack choppers. It is huge. There's 5,000 dudes on the compound. 2,500 on the east, 2,500 on the west. 400 or 500 men in every building. You sleep in 12-man rooms with 420 square feet between 12 men, right? Because it's basically like you live in the school and you sleep in the classrooms, and then the hallway is like the road.
Right.
The hallway is 4 floor tiles across. Everything's in that gray chipped paint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is filthy, black mold fucking everywhere. There's fucking 12 showers for fucking 500 dudes, maybe 15 toilets tops. Half of them work.
Right.
And you are in there with the entire planet. You are in there with every
walk of life.
Dude, it's the feds, bro.
Yeah.
I'm talking 50 cars.
Yeah.
You know what a car is? A car is like your prison clique in the feds, because feds, there's different places. The state is different. I've never did state, but you got to do Philly dudes, Pittsburgh dudes, Harrisburg dudes, like whatever. Yeah. And the feds, the cars, like, it's very organized with the politics. It's like 068 Western PA is one car. Yeah. Then you got every city, every district has a car. Yeah. Then you have the gang cars, Crips and Bloods. Are you UBN dudes, like the New York and Jersey Bloods? Are you Cali Bloods, Pyrus, like whatever. Yeah. Then you have Cali car, every car, Seattle, every Florida, DC, because DC has no state system. So every DC dude goes right to the feds. Yeah. They are a huge car and they are a problem.
Yeah.
all the Mexicans, Norteños, Serranos, then you have the Paisas, and then you have Guatemalans, Ecuadorians, Salvadorians, Colombians, Brazilians, Argentinians, Jamaicans, Russians, Chinese, Australians, like every fucking, it's the UN. Fort Dix is the most diverse prison. It's like being in a favela prison. Like there's dudes like cooking in the fucking hall because there's no locks on the doors.
Right.
Like we're just locked in the building and there's one cop. So like the walls are all completely busted out from people fucking cracking them open to steal power and hide phones and hide liquor.
Right.
Like dudes are cooking liquor all hours of the day. Like dudes are just, you should see it on my Instagram. I put up you can like watch my one Instagram video. It's me and my boy Scoon. He just came home too. He had 30 years. He's from Wilkinsburg. It's him cooking liquor, and I'm just filming him like openly on the phone. Like, everyone's just walking around on phones. And I was walking around the hallways on the phones all day. And we have lookouts on 8 lookouts on all the staircases. When the cops move, they go, "Oh no!" and everyone just runs. You see people, everyone like boom, 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 like all the phones go flying into fucking compartments. All the chargers and cords get pulled down. The liquor bags get pulled into the ceiling. Like there may be like a little fucking Mexican guy in the ceiling, like pulling the liquor bags up. Like it's literally like, you ever see Hogan's Heroes?
Yeah.
Okay, it's like Hogan's Heroes when they come in, where like they have like women and pheasants and wine and like a fucking piano, and then like the cops come and they turn the corner, or the German guards come, they hit a button, they turn the corner, like the dude's chair flips into the wall. It's literally like Hogan's Heroes. Like they open up the door, we're all just sitting there. Meanwhile, there's like 12 cell phones, like 12 knives, fucking iPads, like God no, chargers, everything you could fucking drugs.
Yeah,
bro. I remember on New Year's Eve. The cartel dudes, and there's like hitters there. There's the Italian mafias there. Every cartel is there. Fucking Colombians, like big boys are there. I remember, bro, the cartel dudes on New Year's Eve, they're doing coke in the fucking hallway. They have like fire coke, and they're just literally just doing coke in the fucking hallway, and their guitars and shit, like playing fucking, playing their fucking like narco corridos.
Yeah.
Like that place was a fucking insane asylum. So yeah, no, I'm on my phone at fucking 1:00 in the morning. Bathroom door opens up, which happens all the time. So I just kick it closed with my feet. Bathroom door opens up again, and I see like dudes got like the Hamburglar shit, like they got like the fucking shirt like pulled up here, and they have fucking knives. I'm like, oh hell no. And they're like, give us the phone, like your man took his charger, so you got it. I was blasted the one dude in the face, blasted the other dude. I tried to run by them or whatever to get out in the hallway. Yeah. They grab me, tackle me, and then it's like the world's like most fucked up fight for a remote. We're just thrashing around the floor with like 6 hands on the phone, and then occasionally a hand comes off the phone to punch someone or for them to fucking stab me. You know what I mean? And I'm screaming at the top of my lungs to wake my boys up. Because remember, like we're all sleeping. Like if we're in this space, there'd be like, like 100 dudes in like this amount of space just sleep. Right. So I'm screaming to get someone up or whatever. We're rolling around, thrashing, like fucking. They're giving me the phone. Like, no, fuck you. You're not taking my fucking phone. You know what I mean? It's like, but it was like the weirdest, sloppiest, dumbest fight ever. Because like we're all just fighting over the phone. So like we're all just rolling around on the fucking ground. I wish I could be like, it was like I parried them and then came over and roundhouse kicked and knocked the knife out, whatever.
Not nearly that cool.
Nah, we're just like, it was like the world's most fucked up remote fight. But they definitely had knives. I mean, they're shitty dull knives, but they hurt.
Yeah. They
hurt like fuck when they fucking said, dude, don't you just slash my fucking throat? Like, it was bad, bro. It was all bad. I held on to the phone. They did not get the phone. I kept the phone.
Held it down,
I held it down, but like, yeah, it was a long night, bro.
I bet.
So, that was just like, that's just another day, bro.
Right.
That shit happens like every day. Like anytime you go in the bathroom, there could be some super weird shit going on. You're just like, I hate that I saw that.
right.
Like dude smoking meth, fucking who knows? You know what I mean? Like it's just like that place has to be one of the wildest fucking prisons in the entire. That's where Diddy is now. The place is lawless.
Yeah.
Well,
let me ask you this to wrap, bro. And this is probably the tough question, right? Would you do it again? If you could do it, if you could do it all over again, would you still take those risks?
No, just because of how much it hurt my wife.
Yeah.
And my parents.
Yeah.
So like selfishly, yes. because I'm like, I could do it right, I could do it better or whatever. But realistically, no, because it would hurt the people that I love too much. Now, do I wish selfishly? The most selfish part of me just wishes I could just go back. And I'm not the only one. A lot of my homies hit me up. They're like, bro, I just wish we could live in 2018 again. I just wish we could go back in time. And it
had to be some of the best time. Like I said, you're not going to make that money in any day job. So the people that were working for you had to be some of the, and it had to hurt them too whenever you went down. Because
absolutely.
They lost their livelihood.
It fucked a lot of people up, bro. Yeah. A lot of people's lives got ruined when my shit crashed out. And then what happened was it kind of coincided. It reminds me of Casino, like the voiceover, where it's like they were never, guys like us were never going to get a chance to do anything like that ever again. Yeah. And it was because like by the time I came home from jail, it was like everyone and their mom got weed. Now it's like nobody needs fucking someone like me anymore. Right. Like, you know, like it's just everything's just so played out. Everyone, you know, it used to cost $350,000 to get 100 pounds of weed. So you had to be like a real player to like get that much weed. Then it was like 250. Then it was 200. Then it was 180. Now motherfuckers like, bro, I knew a kid who went out LA who was from here. He was from like Penn Hills or whatever. And he was bubbling out, a young kid or whatever. He was like, bro, I got a box. I got 100 P's for $5,000 one time. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Insane, right?
Yeah, he was like, it wasn't like that good. No shit.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, he's like, but
it don't matter.
Sell that shit for 150, triple up right there.
Right.
That's cash money.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's just like, bro, like it's like the mystery, the era of like, there are still people who are always going to make money off or whatever, but the era of like the urban like gentleman adventurer type, is over.
It's over.
It's over, and it hurts because it was a beautiful, beautiful time.
Yeah.
You
think if you would have made it through that time, that you could have seen yourself starting something like a legal dispensary?
Yeah, or something. I mean, I think if I didn't have the pressure of the federal indictment, I wouldn't have made a lot of the decisions that I made. So like one, I obviously would have kept a lot more money and things of that nature.
Right.
And two, a lot of the properties I bought, I was rush buying in the worst time, which was COVID, when the prices were spiking, because I was trying to create a new situation for myself and my wife and my family that I was hoping to have.
Right.
So I was like, I felt like I couldn't just sit there passively and spend this money even though it was like, I really should have just done that. The voice in my head was like, nah, you got to spend this money now and make moves, bro. Because like, if you go to jail, like you got to have like some legitimate, like you can't just like sit on this money and like spend it away with nothing coming in. Like it made me sick to my stomach, even though I had us on like we were on a tight budget and like shit like that. But like still, I was like, no, like we have to use this. We have to deploy this to create a situation. So now I'm like, okay, like I bought like, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I had like 30 properties before, but like I wasn't like a real estate guru. I was a fucking drug dealer that dabbled in real estate.
Right.
So I bought like the first 10 apartment buildings like I saw, which is like the dumbest shit you could. I was like, man, how do you lose or whatever? You know, it's like, then the fucking interest rates went up because of COVID inflation. So now like your mortgage, you know, it's like if you're only making 3% on apartments are low. You make a lot of money because the value of the building is high, but like your actual cash flow is minimal. Like you might put down $1 million to buy a $5 million building and only make like 150, 200,000 a year. You know what I mean? Like that's like
it's gonna take you a while to get a
return.
It'll
take you a long time to, but it's steady. That's the whole. But that's if everything is set up properly. If you have all your expenses, like you understand how it works. If you just like shotgun, like just from the hip, like I bought this building or whatever, you have no idea how those numbers are going to shake out in 5 years. And that's part of the risk of doing business. You never really know, but I really didn't know. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. So I'm buying the buildings that nobody else fucking wanted. You know what I mean? And you know, these realtors are taking my fucking money.
Yeah, they don't care.
They don't give a fuck. Of course they don't. And I'm like, oh, I have a bunch of property. I'm gonna be up as fuck.
Right.
Now the beauty of property is, and why everyone should do it is, even if you don't make money year to year, if I had held on to all that property, even without making a penny, I still would have been up as fuck. That's the beauty, is because you pay yourself back with the mortgage.
Right.
Remember, every year your net worth goes up $350,000, $400,000 because a piece of that mortgage gets paid off.
Right.
And you can use that to trade on new property if you wish, or you can just let it go all the way up and sell it off for what you bought it for, but you now have 80% extra cash in your pocket because you only put down X.
Right.
But that's all abstract for me because I lost it all.
Right.
I had to fire sale it and lose everything.
Yeah.
So I guess this microcosmic point I'm making is that it's just like, yeah, bro, like I certainly wish I could do it again to like hurt, because to crash out and hurt my wife and my family and selfishly adventure. I definitely wish I could do it again with a little bit of the hard-earned wisdom I learned through my miserable failures, because then I wouldn't have lost as much in my life. And more importantly, not fuck my life, the life of my wife and my daughter would be better now. Yeah. Which is the only thing that really matters.
Yeah. 100%. No, man, I knew it was going to be dynamic having you on. I appreciate your openness. And I'd imagine, right, like being able to go through that and have those things happen, even as awful as it is, it's probably good that you can talk about it now. Right?
Yeah, at least I can keep it a buck.
Yeah, it offers you that freedom, right, that you're able to have these conversations and talk about your experience. Yeah. So no, I appreciate you sharing it with me, man. Like I said, I've been since I started the podcast, even while you were down, man, I was anticipating having you on.
I'm glad we can make it happen, bro.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you so much. But make sure y'all check us out every Saturday on the world's dopest podcast, the Molly State of Mind podcast, down here at a Bunch of Bull Studios. We're going to do it again. And make sure y'all check out the Stat Spot with Jesse and the boys, man. You know they're smoking on the best. Jesse just came back and grabbed some good stuff he's going to do some reviews on. So make sure y'all check that out as well. I'm doing those Tuesdays and Thursdays, Jess? Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Make sure you check out the Stash Spot and see what Jesse's smoking on, man. But until then, we're out of here. Peace.